address the situation with Tyler Miller?
Out of contract. He's looking at different options, so we'll see how it plays out.
Is there a chance that you could bring him back?
Uh, he's out of contract, so obviously it starts with him trying to figure out what he wants to do. And while that's going on, um, we're looking at different options as well. So we'll see over time.
You have 3 keepers in camp, or are you expecting to look at more? Or are you still looking at keepers that are outside of this team?
Yeah, we're looking at different positions where we can still improve, and goalkeeper would be one of them for sure.
Can you describe Cifuentes' playing style and maybe what he's like off the field and how he might get along with the guys?
Cifuentes is a talented midfielder. For Ecuador in the under-20s, I think he played a really important role. Obviously, same team as Chiqui. Dynamic midfielder. Maybe more of an 8, but still at times drops and can play in more of a defensive role. Scored excellent goal in the Under-20 World Cup against the United States where he cut inside and hit a great shot. So a young, talented player, dynamic in the midfield, and somebody that I think will fit in with so many of the other really good young players we have.
What's the importance of signing these young South Americans? We have about 6 or 7 under 23 now.
We're always looking for young talent, and so I think our scouting network has done a really good job of identifying players in South America. We continue to try to look in other places as well, but I think the way we play has been something that has attracted attention in South America. And whenever you get young players that come here and succeed and do well, the way, for example, Diego and Edward have done in the first 2 seasons, then that creates more interest in those places, and then young players in those countries see it as a real opportunity for them. So we feel good that the kind of football that we play and the way that we are headed seems to be something that people are excited about, and we try to use that when we get opportunities to scout and recruit players.
Is there anyone else in the pipeline?
There's all sorts of players. Come on, we're trying
Out
always
of that
to.
pipeline, though?
Yeah, there's plenty of players. I mean, but what you try to do, I mean, look, we're still working to grow as a club, but you want to try to identify young talent everywhere. And please, that includes the U.S. We are trying always to see if there are players right now that are 17 to 20-year-old Americans that aren't quite connected with different teams that maybe help us bridge the gap. We think our academy is going in a very positive way, but our academy kids pretty much start at 04. And so that still leaves a little bit of a window there for us to continue to try to look around. And so we are always looking in different directions, trying to see if we can find players that we think make sense to bring here, get a look at, get to know. And then we also continue to try to see if we can make some strides in how we cover young players in other parts of the world.
Bob, there's like 6 academy players out there. I think that's the most I've seen training. What are the odds that we get to see a player from the academy sometime this season take the field based on the way they were playing today?
No, again, when you consider that most of them are 04s, right? And then I think one of the boys today is an 05. So this is experience for them, but that doesn't make them quite ready. But we continue to try to see if we can find ways to get them into training on the right days. Early part of preseason when we're missing players certainly is a good time to bring some of the young guys that we think are doing well around.
Bob, obviously you guys had a historic season last year. Going into year 3, what's the mindset? What's the motto?
I think it starts with just that we've got an idea of what kind of team we want to be, what kind of club we want to be, and how can we just keep building on things. that includes the kind of football we play. That includes the mentality. I think that we've been fortunate in the first 2 years that there's enough times we step on the field, do some good things, obviously the connection we have with our supporters. And so the way we continue to build on that every day, we just talk about when we get the chance, even on a day like today, to get started. So many of the good things that happened last year were based upon just accumulating good training days where guys show up, they're in a good mood, they like the training ideas that we're putting into place, and we have the kind of football in training that guys are excited about, and then they come back the next day ready to go again. So we're just trying to pick up on that part of it.
How important Bob is for the organization, the CONCACAF Champions League, and the fact that you guys started the year with that?
I think it's something that everybody is really excited about. It's now a new test for us. We're excited to match up against Lyon. Obviously, they had an excellent season last year, and so it's a way for us to gauge where we are, and we're competitive around here. We want to see if we can continue to make a mark in different ways. We're scratching the surface. We're excited about some of the things we've done, but there's no one that has gotten ahead of themselves. I think we still realize there's a ways to go.
When you played them, they will have played 6 matches already. You guys will be kind of stepping into it. We've had that kind of difference between the Mexican teams and the MLS teams when the tournament starts. How do you prepare for that? How do you bridge that gap? And
look, all we can do is try to have excellent preseason, create the kind of training sessions. The guys have done a good job, the ones we've seen so far in one day, coming in good fitness. We've got our training matches, so that's all you can do.
Is this a year that you could see MLS? Can MLS win this tournament? Can you guys win this tournament?
We're just getting started, so I don't want to say too much, but we certainly felt good last year in the way we grew as a team. So it's a little bit of an odd preseason because we've got so many guys that aren't here right now. But we can't complain about that. That's a sign of good things, and as we get closer, we're going to do everything we can to be prepared and make a good run.
But do you guys see this season as a clean slate, or is it kind of like an unfinished business from what happened in the last 2 seasons?
The first 2 seasons were good. Over time, we'll get measured by growing from season to season, having an identity that continues to be there from one team to the next, to the next, to the next. You have a chance over time to win more trophies. So, when you say like what the first 2 years were about, we see the positives, and now we want to build on that. That's over time how you can establish yourself as a big club. In 2 years, you can't do that.
What was your first impression of our new draft picks, Jack and Pablo?
Excited to be here, and a little bit nervous.
How did they perform today?
A little bit nervous.
Yeah.
Excited to be here, so give it a little more time.
How much work do you have to do on the roster? And what are the biggest areas that you need to target right now?
For sure, we want to be solid in the goal as we move forward, and the fact that Tyler was out of contract, as we mentioned earlier, always meant that we needed to do real work to see how we could, what could be available and how we would put things together. I think with Pancho Ginella and now with Jose Cifuentes, we addressed the situation by adding some midfielders. That also gives us versatility because certainly a guy like Latif can play in more than one spot. So I think that's really positive. And now I mentioned this younger American category to still see if there's anything that we can add that fits there. So those are the things that we continue to look at.
And
How do you think of Bradley Wright Phillips today?
Yeah.
First day, look, we all know that he's a very good player. When veterans come in, They're just trying to get a feel for what our situation is, and then get their feet on the ground, and together we can figure out if any of it makes sense. So yeah, for a first day, he does all the things that we know he can do.
Is the situation with Steven Davisher kind of similar to Tyler?
Exactly.
With Bradley, what to bring him in? What do you want to see? If you're going to keep him?
Well, last year he was injured a lot, so I think one of the things is to try to get an idea physically where he is, and then just for a player at the end of his career, you got to make sure that it's the right fit on both sides. You know, we feel really good about what goes on here. When guys show up every day, there's a real camaraderie, there's a real sense of pride of what we're trying to build. I keep talking about how that carries into training. And the quality of training every day. And so anybody who comes here has to be excited about that and feel like that's something that they want to be part of.
How do you size up the competition at goalie right now? Is Pablo sort of going to camp as a favorite? Or?
Yeah, with what's on the roster, for sure. But as we've discussed so far in the press conference, there's always the possibility that we add to that. But last year, Pablo made great strides under Zach's work, showed real promise in some of the games, and so we feel good about him continuing to develop and move along.
You brought back Jordan Harvey this offseason. Are you bringing him back to be a starter in your starting 11, or are you bringing him back more so as a leadership in the locker room?
We don't ever really say to guys ahead of time, here's who the starters are. You know, guys know that it's competitive,
No,
and so.
More so meaning in your mind though, like where is he at in your mind?
Look, we have also Mohamed Munir. My mind is the way I just described. You know, you want to create an environment where guys compete every day. Okay. You know, probably before last season, I didn't know if Jordan would play all the games or as many as he did, but he played really well. He stayed fit, and as a result, he played a lot of matches. Now, obviously, in addition to Mo, Cheeky's around here. Jordan's a year older. He knows that it gets harder, but one of the things that makes Jordan special is that, and this was the second part of your question, that he raises the standard with everybody every day. He's a great guy, he's got experience, he's got a good way with young players. So he brings a lot, and then we'll see. Would I expect him to play as many games as last year? No. Going into the season, I wouldn't plan on that. But he proved me wrong last year, so he's out to try to do it again.